What comes in the way of empathy, hot thoughts, and cognitive distortions? What are cognitive distortions? Cognitive distortions are errors in our beliefs or views about how the world really is. These distortions can develop if we are unable to accept the reality of a situation due to strong emotional impulses, keep our biases and judgments active, or don't have enough information to process correctly. This way, we end up forming cognitive errors. The farther we are away from the truth, the worse are the distortions. Truth is whole and includes all perspectives. In order to be empathetic to others, we need to correct our ways of thinking and concluding. Method 1. Thought Diary Exercise. In a thought diary, write down the situation in which you feel unempathetic towards another person, say colleague or friend. Note down your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors associated with the situation that seem unempathetic to you. Identify your hot thoughts, meaning angry, frustrating, fearful thoughts. Meditate or practice some breathing exercises to cool down and feel less stressed. When you feel calmer and more settled in your mind, generate alternate thoughts for the same situation. Make sure you are unbiased. Method 2. Cognitive distortions. Learn from the lessons of the course on cognitive distortions about how to identify distortions and work on them by developing truthful and whole thinking. Now let us learn from an example and exercise. Let's think of an office scenario. Let's just say Ravi is Shyam's new colleague and Shyam is training him on the job for the past 3 weeks. They have an office meeting wherein Ravi does not seem to take full responsibility of a mistake he commits and instead blames Shyam for not communicating the instructions to him in a succinct manner. Shyam starts worrying about how his boss will think about him, as now everyone believes it was his responsibility to get the job done. He concludes quickly about Ravi's capabilities. His immediate hot thoughts are, "This guy is incapable, disrespectful, and won't fit into the team. There is nothing great about this guy, Ravi. Why did we hire him? What if I get fired for this problem?" The above example shows 3 different types of cognitive distortions playing in Shyam's mind. Labeling, having a negative and incorrect belief about someone. Catastrophizing, imagining the worst case outcome only to come out of a situation. Discounting the good, focusing only on the negative and not the positives. Practice unlabeling exercise. Write down the situation, feelings, and the hot thoughts you are feeling or experiencing regarding your colleague or subordinate. For example, in the meeting, my colleague did not take responsibility for the error and put it on the team, which means the responsibility comes on me. I hate this guy. He's a shrewd person. He does not mean well, etc., etc. Do a breathing exercise, mindfulness, loving kindness exercise, and then write down your hot thoughts again. He is a shrewd person. He does not mean well. He wants to sabotage me. Recognize the labeling in your thoughts. There is nothing great about this guy. He's a shrewd person. He does not mean well. He wants to sabotage me. Break down the situation further and try to empathize with the person. What may be his thoughts or feelings when an error was found in his calculations or coding? He may have gone through shame, fear. He may be telling the truth that it wasn't his fault. Practice decatastrophizing exercise. One common type of cognitive distortion is called catastrophizing. When catastrophizing, the importance of a problem is exaggerated, or the worst possible outcome is assumed to be true. By learning to question your own thoughts, you can correct many of these cognitive distortions. For example, it may have happened that A's boss remarked on his delivered task, "This needs to be more detailed. Please update as soon as possible." Now, this made him catastrophize, believing that he will lose his job because his boss is not happy with his work. How can we work on ourselves now without thinking about only the worst case scenario or outcome? Try the following exercise. What are you worried about? How likely is it that your worry will come true? Give examples of past experiences or other evidence to support your answer. If your worry does come true, what's the worst that could happen? If your worry does come true, what's most likely to happen? If your worry comes true, what are the chances you'll be okay? In 1 week? In 1 month? In 1 year? Practice appreciating the good exercise. Your colleague or subordinate has not been productive recently, and you are feeling irritated. Lots of thoughts are coming to your mind about his inefficiencies and incompetencies. You are also imagining his motives or intentions as not being aligned with the company's goals. Has it ever occurred to you that these are just your thoughts, independent of the reality, and that you may be in this impulsive mindset, ignoring all his good qualities? Does he really deserve your animosity? Just take a step back and sit down to do a deep breathing exercise. Practice mindful meditation, in which you just observe your thoughts objectively without judgment. Let go of your thoughts. Just accept them as thoughts without any labeling or believing. After spending at least 15 to 30 minutes in this exercise, send loving kindness to the person. Remember that you should not be experiencing any negative feelings or sensations in your body at this time. For example, if you are overwhelmed with stress or body pain, then don't do it. Wait for this to pass or do something to feel better. Then do the compassion exercise. Now go back and think about your colleague or employee. Do appreciating the good qualities exercise. Think of 5 positive qualities the employee brings to work. Think of the current scenario and try to revisit why he may have acted in that way. What would be his feelings and thoughts given the situation? Practice empathize with person exercise. Imagine the person's thoughts and feelings given his situation and connect empathetically instead of judgmentally. Acknowledge their suffering. Now think of next steps on what you would say to him or her empathetically, keeping in mind perspectives of both sides objectively. If what you think about the colleague is actually true, work on yourself to not feel stressed and practice learning to send loving kindness or compassion to the person. Method 3. Mindfulness in communication. Mindfulness communication has 4 principles: truth, politeness, good intentions, and staying away from slander, disrespect, or divisiveness. How to prepare for a meeting with your colleague. Write down your concerns about the meeting. Prepare in your mind how you would open the conversation. Prepare for active listening. Active listening is the practice of preparing to listen, observing what verbal and non-verbal messages are being sent, and then providing appropriate feedback for the sake of showing attentiveness to the message being presented. Keeping in mind everyone's needs. Do no criticism. What and how to communicate without getting angry or agitated. How you can work on this anxiety is by not focusing on outcomes. Accept all outcomes. Use the opportunity to get to know your colleague a little better. And put your perspective out clearly without expecting anything in return. Focus on the relationship and trust building instead. Better the understanding between you and your colleague. Nothing is good or bad. Only the wisdom that comes out of it will arm you better next time. Are you open to the possibility of an opening to a different view or compromise?